Previously on Beware the Q, we looked at some original All Tomorrow's artworks by the artist Justin Curry, who has been kind enough to provide this channel with exclusive hand-drawn and shaded works which cannot be found anywhere else. So far we have seen his interpretations of a few different species from the story: the Q, the Spacers, the Killer Folk, the Star People and their transformation into the Colonials, and the Terro Sapiens. They are all fine works. You can really see how passionate the artist is about the lore. So what does he have in store for us this week, I hear you ask? It's pretty interesting, I can promise you that, so allow me to now show you this brand new and exclusive work of art, the latest installment in Justin Curry's exciting new series, All Tomorrow's Revelations. But first, if you enjoy what I do here on the channel and would like to support me, you can head over to my Patreon and sign up for just a few Earth currency units per month. It allows me to continue making these videos and brings me ever closer to quitting my day job. Thank you. Here it is, Mr. Curry's latest piece. A depiction of a member of the Ruin Haunter race and his transformation into a machine, a Gravital. There's a lot to see here in this haunting work. Let's start at the bottom of the illustration and talk about what we see. So, in the bottom left is a short piece of text which reads, "Mind becomes machine." I came up with that, so if you don't like it, blame me and not the artist himself. In the bottom right, we have a Ruin Haunter, or what's left of him, recognisable only by the large, hanging nose. This specimen is covered in small, spider-like robots, which are undertaking the task of transferring the individual's consciousness into a machine. Some seem to have 7 legs, and others have 8. The Ruin Haunter in the illustration has had his eyes removed, and the upper part of his cranium has been removed as well. The brain has been taken out, and the empty cavity is filled with spider bots, as are the eye sockets. Moving further up, we can see that the eyes and brain of the Ruin Haunter now sit within a metal case, also crawling with spider bots, inside and out. They are positioning these organs within a spherical Gravital shell, which will soon come to life, powered by this individual's mind. The colouring of this piece is a mixture of blues and reds. It would seem that this illustration depicts one of the early Ruin Haunter to Gravital transformations, as it is stated in the book that the first machines did contain the physical brains of the organic lifeforms who created them. It was not until later that quantum technology became the method of which consciousness would be transferred from one machine to another. The rest of the illustration, about 2/3 of the picture, is of the spherical Gravital itself, the variety that typically comes to mind. This is quite a horrifying thing to see, a removed brain and eyes being implanted into a machine, the end of an organic race and the beginning of a synthetic one, nightmarish transhumanism at its worst. Along with this piece, the artist has provided a background story, which reads as follows. The Ruin Haunter's homeworld would be completely destroyed in time, overtaken by its ever-expanding sun. Archaeologist Nemo Ramjet had spent his life piecing together their complicated history across many worlds, seeking to explain why the Q gave them privileges over all other star people. What could they have possibly done to be given such an advantage and such a mild punishment? What Nemo would uncover would be darker than ever imagined. The Ruin Haunter's homeworld would become a secondary and final government after the fall of the world that would become the home of the Colonials. In the last days of the Star People's existence, they would place their hope for survival in the newly formed collective Star People government on this world, and call for all remaining worlds to combine all efforts and hopes for a last stand against the Q. As the Q would descend upon this world, the last of the Star People leadership would eventually come to betray their own people by negotiating a full surrender to the Q with the promise of leniency for the leadership and their families. The end of the Star People had come. Unfortunately for their leadership, the Q had spared no one, disfiguring them into the Ruin Haunters permanently as punishment to mock their original forms. To mark the final defeated Star People world, the Q left one ruined city amongst their new creations as their promised reward for surrendering. The Ruin Haunters would discover this truth in time, but would hide it in fears that the Second Galactic Alliance would attempt to take it from them for their betrayal. As a result, they became secretive and distant as they advanced at a much faster rate than all but the Astromorphs. The image gathered by Nemo was of the final patient transformation on file, marking the end of the Ruin Haunters' existence in time. As the Ruin Haunters mastered manipulating gravity, they began to evolve their technology around it. Nanotechnology, which had predominantly been essential in everyday life, became obsolete as the planet warmed to temperatures that only a gravitar could withstand, and the last Ruin Haunters adapted to their new forms forced upon them. With the rise of the Gravitar Empire came the extinction of many worlds, but their misguided pride would one day lead to their downfall at the hands of the Astromorphs. Quite unsettling, wouldn't you say? This illustration shows the beginning of the end, not just for this race, but for all those who would eventually fall victim to them and their campaign of mass genocide, the destruction of many human-derived species that we had come to know. What do you think of this piece? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like the video, comment, share it around, and subscribe to be notified of future uploads. This has been Beware the Q, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.